It's La Copa America 2024 on Caught Offside.
Pulisic! It's spectacular! Vinicius! Oh, wonderful goal! Messi! Oh, he's done it! It had to be Messi!
Now here's Andrew and JJ.
Oh, no. Caught offside from just outside of New York City and from an apartment in Brooklyn, New York. Andrew Gunling and JJ Devaney, a catastrophic USMNT post-match reaction pod. Brother.
Oh, Jesus. What the fuck? Start there.
Mean, that's the
Jesus Christ. That's another one. Of all the things that could have gone wrong, they all went wrong. And even then, there's so much blame, in my view, to go around. So much. Just a catastrophic mess of a match. I said to you, well, it's not like we're going to have to talk about a ton of chances. Oh, my God, we'll be able to talk.
We were so arrogant and douchey in the lead up to this.
And you know what really bites now? Is us saying, look, we're beyond CONCACAF. We're just beyond it. It's so good to be able to go to Copa America and have this opposition and all that, and then to be utterly CONCACAF. To not just be CONCACAF, to allow yourself to be sucked into the CONCACAF vortex in such fashion. 2-1 defeat for the US tonight at the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. And the US they're just staring elimination in the face.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this tournament is hugely important, and just a terrible opportunity potentially wasted. It's not over, but they have now put themselves in a terrible position with this defeat against Panama, who have become a real bogey team to the US. And I know there are other guys to blame, and we will talk about whatever other names there are. But I just got to say, I love the guy. He's a country over club guy. He's had an okay club career, but for the U.S., Tim Weah has scored a lot of big goals, scored in the World Cup. You know, I have always believed he should start for this team, and I don't know that I'm wavering on that necessarily right now. I'm just setting all that up because you all know that I really think highly of Tim Weah on the U.S. It's the easy thing to say right now, but I'm so effing mad at him. I'm red with anger, kind of mad at that guy for what he did tonight. And it's for a couple reasons. One, I mean, like, the Colombia game just happened where he was humbled with a terrible mistake, a foolish mistake, and you saw it on his face and you thought, okay, this is a learning moment for him. Thank God it's only a friendly. And I know the nature of these two mistakes are different, but they kind of all have to do with the same overarching topic. And that is kind of just like focus, general focus. And like that was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And like, for him to now be the guy who has another terrible lack of focus type of mistake like that costs his team in this way, it's awful. It's awful. And the other reason it pisses me off is because, and look, I know Berhalter, I'm sure there are criticisms out there, and that's fine. I mean, if the U.S. go out of the group, regardless of this red card situation, he's probably going to lose his job. I think we all know the situation. But like, just yesterday, I read this article at ESPN FC, a quote from Berhalter.
Yep.
About this game against Panama. We don't shy away from physicality, Berhalter told reporters on Wednesday. We like that in matches, and that's never a problem for us. For us, it's just about embracing whatever a particular match brings, and if it's physicality, we'll be fine. We'll be able to deal with that.
Nope.
So I'm not blaming Berhalter. If he said it to the media, obviously that message was relayed to the team. Was Tim Weah asleep? Was he asleep when that message was delivered to the team? Embrace, we can deal with physicality. Is this the first time you played Panama? Tim Weah, did you not expect that they were going to S-house you in this game? It's what they do. What happened there? How could you lose that kind of focus? How could you allow them to get under your skin so quickly into the game? Even if you did that in the 80th minute after 80 minutes of Panama CONCACAFing you all night, it's still inexcusable. But in the 18th minute, how can that happen? Your team, your coach, you obviously just talked about this in the build-up to this game. It's a hugely important game. You know what you're going to get when you're playing a CONCACAF opponent like Panama. They're going to try to get under your skin. How could you let them do it? How? It's there's a lot of guys to be mad at, but he's an easy one to be mad at. I get that, but I'm furious with him. I can't believe he allowed them to get under his skin so quickly and so easily.
Can I continue?
A ridiculous mistake.
Yeah. Look, is there any benefit for me jumping on top of Tim Weah right now? It's such a stupid thing. And I had to deal with some stupidity on X immediately afterwards. US fans were all hot about the challenge on Matt Turner in the midair, where he ends up with a leg contusion, has to come off at halftime for Ethan Horvath. I get that you didn't like that challenge. It's a hip check. It's not good in the air. Once that happens, it turns.
It was dirty. It was a dirty play by Panama. I'm not saying it was a red card, but it was
no, I don't
dirty.
think so.
It was dirty.
It was dirty, and you know he's running in and he sees him late, and he says, "Okay, I'm gonna make contact, see what happens." I get that, but the stupidity I had to deal with then, what Weah did wasn't as bad as that. I mean, that's not how it works.
You can't hit a guy in the head. You can't do it. We all know it.
You can't
stop everyone.
You can't raise your hands. You can't do any of that. That's the first thing. So, like, I cannot believe Weah. I just truly cannot believe it, because, like, he's played in so many different countries. He's played in Scotland. He's played in France. He's played, in Italy.
He's played against these teams.
And he's played against these teams lots of times.
You know what you're to expect. You guys obviously talked about it in the build-up to this.
It's just right now, it's obviously forgivable. But right now it feels totally unforgivable. I have to say, though, Andrew, and it's time to do it. And it's time for it to be said. I felt this way from the halftime changes. And MLS Buzz, who you love, kind of, well, you're in love with them, kind of followed up and said, kind of compounded what I was saying. Tim Weah made a huge mistake, but the way this game has been handled tactically by Greg Berhalter to invite pressure for 75 minutes has been a disaster and the wrong decision from the beginning. I think that is the most damning indictment of the night for me. It honestly is. Like, we're banging on, and Greg is too, because Greg needs to bang on about this to keep his job, about the progress we've made, how far we've come, the young team, the experience, all this stuff, all this on about our European players. We've got so many players in Europe right now. We've got so much quality. You said the best thing about this side was depth, all that. How many times do we see teams go down to 10 men and the reaction is not to bunker in? The reaction is to find another way to keep playing. The fact that we ended up making the changes we did, gutting the attack, well, further gutting the attack. Tim Weah helped to gut part of it.
I mean,
further gutting the midfield and bringing on a centre half who had no clue where he wanted to be and did only disorientated that back four even further, was a complete disaster. And the idea that this program is into its 5th or 6th year with Greg Berhalter, and we come up against the CONCACAF side, we score, we go 1-0 up while we're down after the red card, and then concede immediately because we can't clear our lines. And then the next option is, right, to give up any kind of offense. We completely abandoned our offense, save for which Christian Pulisic go on a mazy run, carry the ball for as long as you can, and then release Balogun, who had that curling shot wide.
Yeah.
Or save for Weston McKennie. Hey, Weston, get the ball and literally run with it. Do whatever you can and dink across into Pepe. And he just got caught under the bit. The cross had just a bit too much on it. But that's it. And that's individuals just putting the team in their back saying, I got to do something. To throw an attacking system out the window because you lose a man, it suggests to me a paucity of thought, a paucity of preparation on the sideline, and that falls on the coaching staff. I'm sorry, it does. And if we've really truly come this far and we've got these players playing at this highest level, then the white flag can't go up just because you've lost a man to Panama. Not acceptable. It enraged me the minute I saw it. This cannot be your default. 5-3-1 or whatever it was.
Yeah, that
is what it was. You got to be cleverer than that. You got to do something else. And By the way, it's not like Panama tore us asunder,
No, I mean
with
that is the only
chance
thing is
after
it
chance.
almost did work. Like it got close. They got
I,
close
I,
to it working.
I know, but like it was sat on the edge of your 18 for 75 minutes against Panama.
I know to look at the stats
This, oh, come on.
and like, yeah, I mean, the stats are always going to be slanted in a certain way when a team is down a man for 80 minutes of a game. But to see a U.S. Panama game where the possession is 76-24, it's
Come
like,
on now.
I mean,
Come on. It's just, again, like I said, a paucity of thought and a complete lack of preparation. And that falls on the manager as well. Now, look, I think we accept that, like, there's certain things that happen, certain coaching things that happen, or sorry, things on the field, and coaches have to react. And the reaction just was bad here. Taylor Twellman, and again, I'm just, I had to look for people to back me up here, like, because sometimes you get a feeling, I'm like, I really strongly believe what I'm saying here, but I would love some help here. Taylor Twellman, you cannot lose this game. Man down or not, you scored first, then gave up the time goal less than 5 minutes later. What's the excuse now finishing the game without a point? This group still lacks the emotional maturity and understanding of just being smart and pragmatic to get the job done. The final score matters, not the performance, and any tournament exposes that.
well, that's kind of flying in the face of what you said.
Yeah, you see, I don't agree with that at
He's
all.
saying that like at a certain point, you got to just see this thing out.
Yeah, but I don't agree that it was see it out. I just don't. I think like that is, you're literally saying to yourself, well, we lose one man, we have no plan B, and the guys and personnel are on the field aren't enough to try and at least be competitive. So we're going to sit back and hope for the best. You see, I don't agree with that.
Well, I
I
wouldn't
do
say they
agree
had
with
no
this.
plan B. They did have a plan B. I think you just don't like what it was.
Oh, I think
Plan B was this game is tied, and we're going to make sure that this thing ends tied, or maybe we'll get something on the counter. Um, and I think that was their plan B.
yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't
I
feel
just to give
I
up
don't
control. The changes he made at halftime, the goalkeeping change was forced, and look, we were hearing leg contusion.
Turner spoke afterwards. He said his
He's going
status
to be fine.
is uncertain right now for Uruguay.
He said in the mix zone to Jeff Carlisle, or Jeff Carlisle overheard him saying, I'm going to be fine. But the other changes, like I said, CCV into center back. I mean, he was a liability.
He was
You get
bad. That was my other guy. I mean, I thought a lot of guys showed a ton of heart in this game, and they
Yeah,
did all they could,
definitely.
and they fought. Um, Cameron Carter Vickers was kind of the big move at halftime. Let's get another center back on there and make sure we see this thing out. And that guy who was brought on to try to provide some solidity and security in the back wound up being the weak link and wound up being a problem
I
for
mean,
them.
it was definitely not a penalty, but but
He was bailed out basically, not on a technicality, but like kind of like it was a tackle worthy of a foul. He was just fortunate of the timing of which the ball was released and the way the player kind of fell into him. But it
yeah,
was a
going
reckless challenge in that position.
absolutely reckless, Andrew, and going
Even
to
on the
ground.
goal, like
Oh,
he's late to it.
I would like to say that the Fajardo goal, assisted by Ayarza. Ayarza's cross, where he spins and turns the cross, like, that's a super cross. It's a great cross. But I will say, Anthony Robinson's got to be stronger there. I think he's got to clear his lines there. That cross can't happen. There's 3 US players close to Ayarza, and they do nothing to stop him getting that ball. And albeit it's a great ball, Horvath should save it too. Horvath should save it. It goes through his hands. Goes through his hands, Andrew.
I mean, it was kind of a quick shot, high
Yeah.
velocity on it from not too far away. I don't know. When I saw it, it wasn't necessarily one. I just kind of was thinking like, boy, I wish Carter Vickers had gotten there sooner. I don't.
Yeah, maybe.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe. But Carter Vickers again. I mean, his first action was almost to be. He was turned inside out, and he pokes out a leg, and it's just like when you see a guy like that stretching in the box. You're always worried. It's become a place where you have to stay on your feet at all, if at all possible, unless you are 100% sure you're going and winning that ball. It should be noted too, those were two substitutes that combined for the winner. Like the impact of the substitutes that Panama made was telling in the end. And I can't tell you. Ricardo Pepi has that header. It's difficult. I know he's up front on his own. He's plowing that lone furrow. We spoke about Carter Vickers, not good. Johnny Cardoso, you tell me. I don't know. I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Horvath, maybe I'm being harsh on the goal. Maybe I am. And Sargent wasn't on really long enough to make any kind of impact. So just, I don't know, man.
A disaster.
Yeah, disaster.
A total disaster.
Disaster.
I mean, you kind of have an issue with the Berhalter stuff. I guess my primary issue was Weah. If I had a secondary issue, it's kind of, I heard Clint Dempsey talk about this a little bit after the game, and then I shut off the post game and pretty much just came right down here to record. But I agreed with what he said of like, you're down a man and now you've scored. Like, oh my God. It was the signature moment of Balogun's time with the US. It was an amazing goal in a moment where they so badly needed that. And like Clint kind of said, again, it kind of flies a little bit in the face of some of what you're saying. You're kind of suggesting keep playing your game. Clint said, once you've scored that goal, you got to like take the air. Like, Panama's going to try to come back there. You got to try to like take the air out of the game and see out.
But
the
he
next
said for 10, 15 minutes.
You're right. He said 10 to 15 minutes. You're
Come
right.
on. He didn't say 75 minutes.
Right.
Camped on your own 18.
But I agree with his point that like, I don't know. I can't give you the tactical move of what I would have done. All I can tell you is you just can't allow a goal immediately after you've gone up there. Like that is, I don't know, get on the ball, get some lateral passing, send it on back to Turner. Like, I don't know, just like something to take the air out and to crush whatever momentum Panama's trying to rebuild. I don't know. It's just, you just can't allow that goal so quickly right after you've scored to go up a goal when you're down a man. It was a gift that they got that goal. It was an incredible goal from Balogun, and they squandered it immediately. Just immediately.
There's no way you can okay, so you take Rain out, you're taking out you're minus a creative player straight away, one you can't replace. But Pulisic can drop in and play in midfield, like properly drop in and play in midfield. Adams, there's obviously some kind of time restriction on him. He just has so few minutes, and that they felt like they had to hook him. But you can't reconfigure a 4 in that midfield to give yourself numbers, because we had no numbers. You could see it, Andrew. Like we were overrun. Now again, Panama, because they're Panama, they're not going to cut you open. So basically what I'm saying is, like, did you have to lose all semblance of an attack, all semblance of getting up the field, and all control and ability to pass the ball just because you've lost one player? And forward, I just don't feel you did. But those subs, absolutely, they gutted the side. And, there was some brave, gutsy stuff we saw. Like, there was some decent defending, but a lot of it was Panama playing in front of us. They didn't cut us open. And I can hear people saying, well, if that's the case, then JJ, then it worked. But like, it didn't work.
Well, it didn't, because eventually a goal did happen.
Like, and we should have gone down. We should have been able to carry some kind of a threat, other than, like I said, those individualistic moments that we had. And I'm so disappointed. I'm just so disappointed.
Just looking
now,
yeah.
Go on.
No, I was saying, I while you're talking about this, I have ESPN FC's match, all the ratings for players and manager. This is who is it? Jeff Kassouf at ESPN FC for Berhalter. He gave him a 6. The explanation: a rare game for a manager in which he has to react to an early red card, and whether to change things immediately in the 18th minute or ride it out with the personnel he has. Berhalter waited until halftime to make changes and switched to a 5-3-1 to try to preserve the point and keep the USMNT's tournament hopes alive. In the end, it didn't work.
Yeah. Just, you'll hear a lot. There's so much talked about this side, and a lot of it comes from themselves about how they believe in each other, their faith in each other. The manager had no faith in a rejigged side with 10 men to keep the ball and control things a little bit. Like 26% possession. And I don't know.
I do believe the only thing I'm not going to argue about it because like I get what you're saying. It's not wrong. Um, I'm just trying to think in my head of like if the U.S. continued to kind of play their game, what's the more likely outcome? The U.S. Like I still think now the U.S. are opened up. It's probably a higher percentage chance that Panama score at least one goal with the U.S. playing that way.
Again, like,
and then he's real. I'm not saying you want to manage. I'm not saying a good manager shouldn't manage by what he thinks the media reaction will be, but imagine for a second if he did kind of do what you're saying and the U.S. leaked 2 goals. Maybe they scored one, but they lost 3-2. Oh my God, he'd be fired right now. Like the reaction would be tenfold. What's he thinking? This isn't the time to be, now's the time to just get it. It's a tournament. Just get the result. What are you doing? Live to see another day. It'd be a bloodbath way worse than what it is now.
I do understand that train of thought too, but we're supposed to be better than the Mandrew, and we're supposed to have players that can play in these difficult moments. All these buzzwords. Nothing. Got decided halftime, and even then, like you said, they didn't create a ton. Didn't create a ton at all.
No, I mean Panama in the second half, they created what was nearly a penalty, where, like I said, Cameron Carter-Vickers, I think he got bailed out. I think it was a really reckless challenge, and he was fortunate that VAR, I think correctly, came in and overturned that.
Correctly, yeah.
And then the goal. Like there wasn't, like the U.S. were not under constant bombardment. I mean, when I think of other chances in this game, the better ones, like they probably were the U.S. ones that you mentioned before. The McKinney ball into Ricardo Pepi, Balogun's shot where he tried to bend it around the keeper. Maybe he would have been. Balogun had a really good game. I thought. I'm not going to really talk negatively of him. This was his best game, I thought, as a member of this team. Maybe once he stopped there and kind of had a moment, I think shooting from that angle was not the move. I think he had 2 guys who were running into the box. Maybe something else was on there. But, that was a decent chance. Balogun, he hit the crossbar. I think he was offside. I know they ruled it offside.
He was offside. His first touch was
VAR, it would have been off, right? He was off.
He was off. His first touch was lovely from a really clever little dink pass from Scally into the channel. It's a good run. It's a good first touch. Again, it holds up a bit under his feet on the surface, which means it's under him, and he needs another touch to get out of his feet. So the angle is tight. The fact he hit the frame, the right angle of the goal at all was impressive from there, considering how far wide he'd been pushed. But I thought he fought hard. I thought he did really well, like in terms of.
It was like a Darwin Nunez attempt. Wasn't that the goal he scored that you thought was like hilarious, or like his first touch took him out of the play and then he scored an amazing goal anyway?
Yeah, that's right. Like he scored this daft goal. It was at Bournemouth in the League Cup. I'm like, where are you? Right. Oh my God, that's the worst touch I've ever seen.
And
it's the
goal.
Best strike I've ever seen. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it was even further wide than that. I mean, Chris Richards had a shaky night early on. His passing was not good.
No, I mean, look, I took notes, and like they're all kind of a lot of them are meaningless now because like everything changed once the red card, like the way the game transpired. But pre-red card, one of the notes I had was Chris Richards, like, you're doing it again. Yeah. Like early in the game, another shaky back pass. Early in the game, and I watched that. I was like, after what we saw in the last game where that happened a couple of times, like, what's going on here with some of this stuff,
bro?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it is a shame because once again, like the U.S., they did start well for the most part in this game. They scored, Ream was again correctly ruled offside. It was close, but
definitely.
it was a good early start.
Hey, we should say it was one of those rare things that we hope is going to continue to be good. It was a great Christian Pulisic free kick into the box.
Their set pieces have been pretty solid lately.
They've been better. I mean, they were shocking in the lead into this tournament. But it was Scally got fouled off a nice bit of play from him. Ball's whipped in, hits the goal, the frame of the goal, bounces down. Ream's alive, but he's offside. Pokes it back, and McKennie shoots home. Very nice goal, but offside, obviously. So it's hard to analyze this game when it got changed so quickly, by the sending off, and then at halftime by what the manager decided to do. It just completely distorts. Alexi Lala said after the game, well, now the referendum on this manager and this coach is pushed on to the Uruguay game. I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure he said it much more eloquently than that. But that's what's happening now. It's pushed down the line, and it's a massive task. We don't know. I mean, can you give us an update? How are Uruguay doing right now, Andrew?
They're up 2-0, and it's been just so. I have it on in front of me, and it's just like it's so dominant. That game's over.
So what are the chances they take the foot off the pedal, off the gas for the final game?
Well, it helps, right? That is. I'm glad you bring that up, because that is one of the interesting things here. In some ways, what happened tonight changes everything, but in one key way, it actually changes nothing. What did we say before this tournament? The U.S., for us to take this team seriously and for Berhalter to keep his job, the U.S. is going to need one truly signature win against a good team, which is a thing they never do. We said that maybe that'll be in the quarterfinals against either Colombia or Brazil. But more importantly, when we really need it to be is in that third game against Uruguay. So maybe we hopefully avoid Brazil. Well, like now that calculus doesn't change. Now, the importance of it does. It's no longer we need to win that game so we can avoid Brazil. It's just now we need to win that game so we can face Brazil or somebody in the quarterfinals. But like the idea of that being a must-win game for the U.S., we thought that a week ago, and here we are. It's still a game that, like, if this team is as good as we think they are, or if this manager deserves to keep his job, you win that game. And you're right, Uruguay will be through, and there's a chance that they'll be able to rest guys. I'm trying to think in my head if that. If they won't necessarily have clinched the group, right? Like if the U.S. beat them and turn around the goal difference. So Uruguay still, and same goes for Panama, who have Bolivia. If Panama beat Bolivia and turn around goal difference, I guess the group is not sealed for Uruguay yet. Their qualification into the next round, I think. Well, no, if the U.S. win, I don't know. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm failing you right now.
Andrew, you're usually so good with permutations, but this has been traumatic for you. This is like
but my point is
trying to do math with a concussion. Stop it.
But my point is essentially a few days ago we all said the U.S. have to win that game because if we need to believe that this team is good and this manager is trying to keep his job. Well, they still need to win it. It's just the importance of it is different than what the importance was before. They still got to win this game.
Yes, and look, tonight's disappointing, but like all those things I say that we constantly hear from this camp about, we've come together, we're strong, the bonds, all this stuff, buzzwords that you hear from Berhalter and players as well. Go and prove it. Go and prove it. Show us. You're up against the wall, backs against the wall now. Have to beat Uruguay. Go and do it.
They do. I do think they're good. Like, I think they can. Like, it shouldn't be seen as some just like, well, say a prayer, everyone. Like, no, it's not. It shouldn't be beyond the realm of
some of that. It is of course, it's a football match against a team that are home and hosed. We don't know how they're going to approach it. They may want to rest some bodies. But the sense is there was a very, very downcast sense at full time, obviously.
Well, I mean, this was,
and a lot of it centered around, well, we have to get something out of these guys. But for those of us that have been watching this side and bemoaning the standard of team that they usually face, this is the test. This is what we've been wanting. Like you said, it doesn't have to change much. Do you know what we've created for ourselves here? Let me look at it in a positive way. We created a knockout game in the group stage.
Yeah.
That's what we've done. We wanted that jeopardy. We wanted the big game. Now the hard part is if we do get knocked out, we've been knocked out at the group stage. I can't spin this and say, well, we got knocked out of the
No,
round of
no,
16.
yeah, it's
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
yes.
We've created this big game for ourselves. Andrew,
Could
we've
really
gone
use
in.
with that. I went on my rant on our previous pod about the jeopardy of these three teams getting out of a group is it's time to change. This can't go on. It's got to be, could really use that number. Really use that third spot right about now.
Andrew, we're a half hour into this, and people can probably tell our disheveled and kind of emotional tone, but we will be destroyed tomorrow morning if we don't talk about this referee.
Okay.
So I'm not the man to do it, unfortunately. I, you know, people wanted blood for the Turner incident. I don't think it's a red. I just don't.
I don't
People,
either.
people, people then want blood because the red didn't happen, but the red for us happened. Can't put hands to the face. You just can't do it. It was as clear a red as you're ever going to see. Did he let things get completely out of control? I don't know. I think CONCACAF is a way of losing itself. And if you look at some of the actions towards the end of the game, like I mean, the hacking of US players.
Pulisic lost his mind when he eventually the red card did come for Panama.
Paraskia did get his red. But this idea that there should have been, two or three other reds, or that there was this massive
I thought
poor performance from the referee, you're not going to hear it from me, and I know that's going to anger people, but that's not the reason they lost tonight. It just isn't. I'm sorry.
I agree with you. If people can tell us we're wrong, and you can point out the ways in which we are, I'd like to see it. I want to be wrong. I want to be mad at more people. So bring them all to me so I could be mad at more. But I didn't, something like we talked about the Czechia game the other day and how that spiraled out of control. And then this game, a little bit of the same. They both had something in common. There was a red card in the first 20 minutes of both of them. I think when you have a game where one team is playing down a man for essentially, when you factor in stoppage time, essentially maybe a little over 80 minutes, they're expelling so much energy. Their frustration is going to be dialed up because in some way they're going to feel hard done that there was a red that was given to them so early. Like there's always going to be a much, much higher chance of a game kind of losing control of itself when a team has been down a man for that long. Like emotions are just higher, frustration and anger is higher. It's hard. I don't blame the ref. He has a pretty hard job, I think, to try to keep things calm when one team is frustrated and angry for 80 minutes.
And like avid CONCACAF watchers are in the mentions now saying, like he's just not been a good ref for a long, long time. And
I don't know. I
don't know. I can't.
I mean, look, Panama committed 19 fouls. What was it? The fouls in this one were 19-4. I mean, Panama did we kind of got the full Panama experience here. This is
they're nasty. They are physical. They're robust, but we're supposed to be ready for this. Andrew, I'm going to go to the animals just for a little bit. Taylor Proctor with Taylor is a very measured guy. Hashtag Berhalter out. That's all we got there. Dave makes a good point here. No, sorry, Luke makes a good point. Sorry, Dave. Luke, I think the idea of Greg Berhalter supposedly building such a strong team culture by the player's own admission is a useless argument to keep him as the coach when the team can't come together in a game like that to, at a minimum, get a result. I feel strongly about that. Let's see. Fumbles. When in sports, my mindset is if you are messing with me, I'm going to score on you and then smack talk, not physically attack you back. Weah, spoiled brat reaction. How does Greg Berhalter not discuss this mentality at practice? You know it's coming. That's the other side. Well, we think he did. And we think he did say that. But, I'm sure there was plenty of times Alex Ferguson said to his entire team, which included Roy Keane, let's not get sucked into anything. Let's make sure we keep 11 men on the field. And that didn't happen. So I don't know. It's just surprising a player of his experience and his experience of CONCACAF that would happen. Tim goes to the tactic side, Tim Stark, and he kind of he's speaking my language here. We played the last 10 minutes or so of the first half with 6 at the back, with Pulisic and Reina, even with the fullbacks. Every player in our defensive third. Then had no outball really in the second half, besides Pulisic dribbling 4 guys. Why? We had no counter options. That's Greg. That's on Greg, Andrew. Like, there's got to be a proper coherent system for when you lose a man, because it happens, and in international football and tournaments, it happens a lot. This was unacceptable from the sideline, in my view.
I'm just scanning the Reddit page too, because it is.
Oh God, it's probably burning to the ground, is
a
it?
Flurry of activity.
We may actually the activity may be so bad that it descends into the second tier of hell, and it becomes 4chan. Just through this discourse alone.
I enjoyed this exchange from so BVB Spurs 34 wrote, Weah may be a topic, talking about our upcoming pod. And then Derek Onions responded with, what are you talking about? He was anonymous after minute 20 or so. Nice. Could use a little humor tonight.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm just scanning through. There's a lot here. Individual box 4626. I guess this puts the trope, we need better competition than CONCACAF to bed. Lose to Panama, barely beat the worst South American team. I mean, do we need to go back, JJ, and bring back the zapper?
Have you got the zapper? Have you said you haven't charged it in at least not since the end of COVID. You said you haven't charged it.
Yeah,
so
it's been
do
a
you
while.
want to charge it?
Let me throw it. Yeah, let me.
You know what, Andrew?
I find it. People may not even remember what we're talking about. After the U.S. lost to Trinidad and didn't make the World Cup, we had a whole come to Jesus. You and I we've been too arrogant.
Well, you didn't come anywhere near Jesus.
We've been too arrogant. We can't take this opposition for granted anymore.
Yeah,
Who do we think we are? And we kind of eventually that all sort of faded away, and we've kind of resorted back to our old arrogant selves. But do so at your own peril, because none of these games are, for however much we think they should be easy, they don't seem to be. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of frustration out there tonight. Yeah, just this team. If this team is as good as many of us think they are, then it's we've been waiting a little bit of a kind of a long time for them to really prove it. A lot of it is like speculative and what we think they're capable of, but like now is the time where we have to find out. Their back is against the wall here, and they're gonna have to find it within themselves. Not Weah will be suspended, which creates the question of, so what now? What do they do to? It could be as simple as this now frees up a spot. I mean, I don't know if they want to, how much they want to move Gio Reyna's place around, but it could move Yunus Musa back into the starting 11. It could, I know Greg still seems to have a soft spot for Brendan Aronson. Maybe
I
it
would have
moves
thought
him
tonight.
in.
I would have thought tonight. Now that you mentioned Musa, I don't know, does he have a knock or what's the story? But like Musa's ability to carry the ball, which we know he has, that would have come in pretty useful in that second half. To be able to break out of your, if you are going to persist with what you're doing, you need a guy who's going to get the ball and carry it up the field for a bit and give your defense a rest. I mean, it's basic stuff, but he's slipping out of the reckoning a little bit lately. But I guess he comes back in, and what you can do is you can put him back in, and then you can push Reina up the field, which might be an option. Or if you wanted, maybe you take Balogun out the center and then put Pepe in there. But I don't know. I don't know about any of that.
What do you say? Let's go ahead. Let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. Still a little bit more to do. There was I did want to talk about the Alex Morgan situation. Is that weird to do now? Like,
I feel like it's a bit
I just saved that for the next pod. Is that okay?
Save it for next pod, because
I'm not trying to push the U.S. women to the back burner, but it just feels like,
no.
Is this? I don't know that people want to hear that discussion. Really, it's not.
Yeah, and I had some stuff on Corbin Albert as well, which is the other one that's kind of getting people hot under the collar, but it doesn't feel appropriate. We can talk about something else, Andrew, something positive that's coming down the tracks for this podcast.
Oh, Interesting. All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
by the
the only
way,
way it's the only way we end on a high here.
well, here's the real tease. Tim Weah has released a statement about what happened tonight.
Oh
I
God.
have that in front of me. Oh,
Do you want to do
it's
that after the
sad.
break? Do
Let's
that.
do yeah, let's do it after the break. More caught offside still to come. Oh, back now on a gloomy Thursday night here in the United States of America. Kansas City, you guys gotta bring it on Monday. Um,
And by it, extra players.
just like, and that is one of
Oh.
those, that is a city where I think, that's a great soccer hotbed. That will be, it is one of the places where I think you can rely on a pro American crowd. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is one of those moments where you can't leave anything on the table here. JJ, I mentioned before going to break that Tim Weah has released a statement. This is clearly, much like you could see it on his face after the Colombia friendly with the mistake he made. You could tell how mad he was at himself. I would say multiply that by 10, 20, 30. He put this out on Instagram. He wrote this. And this is like right after the game. So he must have, yeah.
He's in the fields.
Yeah. This is, I don't think any agent helped him with this or PR. I think this is just Tim Weah from the heart. He said, "Today I let my team and my country down. A moment of frustration led to an irreversible consequence, and for that I am deeply sorry to my teammates, coaches, family, and our fans. Moving forward, I am committed to learning from this experience, not allowing an opponent to provoke me, and working to regain the trust and respect of my team and supporters. No matter what, I will always fight for my team and for my country till the day I'm no longer needed or capable to. I sincerely apologize to everyone. My love for this team goes beyond just football, and I'm so sad and angry at myself for putting my brothers through what they went through tonight." Like
Yeah.
I said, I love the guy,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be mad at anyone on this team. I love all these guys. Um,
The
but
only thing
like
I'd say
it's
to
not wrong
Tim
to be
is,
mad at him. He's mad at himself. Like he knows,
yeah,
he gets it. He understands that what he did tonight was terrible. He put his team in a terrible position. I mean, we have a Reddit thread, JJ, on the Caught Offside Reddit page that is titled Tim WTF.
yeah.
Um, and it's basically just a Reddit thread kind of going after Tim Weah right
You
now,
know,
which is a lonely place to be. Emerald Toffee, if I'm Triple G and we make it out of the group, I'm benching Weah for the rest of the tournament. Full stop. What in the hell makes a
oh,
player think they can get away with something like that with VAR? Just completely idiotic and selfish. Um, let's see. Uh, yeah, and then it's kind of just like
yeah.
Dave
Look,
Dash, yeah, really poor from Way, and not just short sighted for this match, but the next one, shaking my head. Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, Way is going to catch a lot of heat tonight, deservedly so.
the only
Um,
thing is, I do feel that right now, two incontinent old men are engaging in, from what I can tell, is only a slobbering bowl of nonsense on national TV, and I think if if there was ever a time to do something really bad and it'd be forgotten in the morning, this might be the night to do it. But yeah, amongst the U.S. soccer fraternity, it won't be forgotten, but there is forgiveness.
sure,
There is forgiveness.
I would hope that this isn't some kind of like, you know, Beckham
No,
red card
no,
England
oh God,
reaction. Like
no,
I,
no,
I would
no.
hope that U.S. fans are
And
kind of
that didn't even last that long, really, when you think about it. He was a hero by the end of the following season. So no, I don't think we're going to go down that route,
no, but
Andrew.
but I will say, like I'm not gonna. That statement was that he released was nice. Sometimes we think those, like Bruno Fernandez has released those statements. And sometimes we're like, dude, relax. Like you're going a little too far with the self hate. Sometimes this is one where I do think it's nice that he put that out there. Um, that helps. I guess I don't know. Does it? Well, I like knowing that he cares this much. I don't really think we needed proof of that. I think we all know Tim Weah cares a hell of a lot about this team. Yeah, I'm mad at him. I think that's okay for everyone to feel that way. Be mad at him, but I'm not writing him off. If the U.S. do advance, he goes back into my starting 11. He's proven himself as a hugely important piece of this team, which is part of the reason that this is so frustrating, because he's important. You need that guy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
There's nothing else to be said, really.
Yeah.
We're getting towards the end of it, Andrew, because it's very simple. It's very simple what has to happen now. So
Win.
here we win.
Gotta find a way to win.
Gotta find a way to win.
JJ, I don't know if you have any other final thoughts on this. I'll give you a sec to do so. But before that, I do want to make an announcement to everybody.
Oh,
We've been hinting over the last week or so at something coming for this podcast, and I believe early next week, this podcast, it's not available yet, but we want to kind of get the buzz out there so all of you guys can start thinking about it. And early next week, we're planning on launching Caught Offside Plus.
yeah.
Premium, more Caught Offside, bonus content. I know you can't hear it in my voice right now because I'm still mad, but like I am really excited about this. We've felt for a long time that we have more to give, and we hope that in this way we'll have the opportunity to give all of it to you guys. So I hope that people get excited about this. I hope it's something that a lot of you guys jump on board. I totally, I understand not everyone will be able to. I get that, but we know we've got a lot of really committed, dedicated fans of this show, which is, I don't know, I'm thankful for it every day. I can't believe it. And so I hope that a lot of you guys hear this and really get excited about it in the way that JJ and I are, because we think this will give us a chance to do a lot more fun stuff. So look for it early next week. It's going to be called Caught Offside Plus. It's going to be premium content, and it should be fun because this sport, there's just so much of this sport, and we feel like we have more that we can do, and this will give us a chance, we think, to be able to do that.
Absolutely, and it's the best way you'll be able to support this podcast beyond anything else. You'll be truly helping us out, and it's going to be great because, like Andrew said, there's stuff we want to do, and Caught Offside Plus gives us the opportunity to do that for you. And I am so pumped for it.
And I will say, maybe this is shameless in some way, but as sort of a carrot at the end of the stick for you guys, if you do sign up, there will be an audio gift waiting for you, which I don't want to give away too much. I would like to keep it a surprise, but when you sign up, basically what happens is you get access to a premium feed, and it kind of can replace the old feed, and there will be some new material that isn't accessible to those on the regular feed. And you'll see in the new premium feed, there's an episode waiting for you that I believe personally you will not be disappointed by. I'll leave it at that. So take that for whatever it's worth. But I'm not just saying this to try to shamelessly bait people. I really genuinely, especially longtime listeners of this show, I think it's something that you will truly enjoy. So on a really disappointing night, hopefully that's something that at least some of you guys out there are excited about hearing, because like I said, we're excited about the possibilities that this opens up for us. JJ, I don't know. Like, I feel like I want to go all night.
I feel like I don't.
But I don't know how much more I can just like beat this team up over. I don't know how many other like really significant moments or tactical decisions there are to kind of parse through. I feel like this one is, I mean, there is kind of a disappointing simplicity to what happened tonight. This was just, it was, I guess the last bit here is like, I'm trying to just in my head think of disastrous losses for this team, and where, you know me, I'm a man of lists. I like to rank things. It's just how my brain operates. Some people detest them. I think it's a fun little vehicle to kind of like be nostalgic sometimes.
Yeah.
For better or worse. And tonight, much for the worse. So when I think of like, let's go like this: non-World Cup, because World Cup is just like a different level of disappointment, frustration, whatever. In terms of non-World Cup losses that come to mind for me with the U.S.
Oh.
Where is this one? This is, I mean, I'm thinking now, this is really effing high.
Oh, God, yeah.
This is, I mean, like, maybe I'm missing something obvious. Like,
this is up with World Cup qualifying defeat in TNT.
So that will always be number one. Nothing will ever pass it. But like after that, like when I think of losses that really hurt me as an American fan, the 4-2 Gold Cup final the Giovanni Dos Santos goal over Tim Howard. Like that game really hurt. Remember when there was the short stint of the CONCACAF Cup, when Mexico beat the U.S. dramatically in extra time after Bobby Wood scored that goal to tie it up, and then Mexico wound up winning. That one really hurt.
The 2011 defeat at the Rose Bowl.
Right? Wasn't that the?
What was that? That was for the Confederations.
That was the gold. Isn't that the Gold Cup that I was referring to when Giovanni Dos Santos scored?
Oh yeah,
over,
you're right. You're right.
Tim Howard.
Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say like the Confederations Cup loss to Brazil. That's a weird one because there was a little bit of just happy to be there after we had beaten Spain and like peak Spain. And like you could be a little forgiving of the fact that like, well, it's Brazil, but the US they were up 2-0 in that game. Like, let's not forget that.
I can't include that because it was Brazil though. It hurt, but it's not the same.
And that team had taken us on a really fun ride to have gotten to that point. This though, to go out, if it's
Costa Rica at home, outside of Trinidad and Tobago in the same qualifying cycle, Costa Rica at home at Red Bull Arena. That I
know it just so gets overshadowed because of what happened
completely, but it should not, my friend. It should not, because
I don't think it's worse than this.
That one truly stank.
I don't know if that one I think this might be worse.
Oh man,
because like at least that like that night. The U.S. just got outplayed. Like the U.S. weren't better than them. This is like this is a different kind of frustration of like an 18th minute red card, and then you get the lead, and then you blow it. Like this had so many.
We're in danger of literally doing another podcast starting again.
I will allow this to be a new Reddit thread. Where does this rank?
That's a good one
for the Animals among crushing non-World Cup moments for the U.S. So basically things outside, maybe some people think this is worse than World Cup stuff. I guess some of those maybe, but this is up there. This is a kind of disappointment that, is a little bit rare. I don't know. We will of course be back. I mean, Monday is just a bear of a day. I'm guessing it'll be another 2-pod day. We'll probably want to go over some of the stuff that happened over the weekend in European Championship knockout stage matches. That'll be huge. We can't wait for that. And then I'm correct, right? It's Monday night. Monday night, the U.S. and Uruguay at 9 o'clock.
It feels very quick after this.
It's about right. No, Thursday, Monday.
Know, it is of course about right, but it's just like, tomorrow feels like the weekend. The next thing you know, bang, Monday night it'll be here, and it's D-Day, and oh god,
yeah. So, you'll hear from us probably twice on Monday. That's my guess here. So look for kind of the early afternoon pod, and then look for one late at night. And I hope that it's a celebratory one, where the U.S. they find it within themselves. Pulisic puts the team on the back. Hopefully Matt Turner's healthy. Weston McKennie had some moments that like that. I know these guys. Balogun's in the best form that we've seen so far for the U.S. He scored in back-to-back games, and he just scored his best goal for this team ever. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible. But yeah, in a dark place tonight. This was not fun, not expected. But that's the sport, man. The sport is unpredictable. JJ, I got nothing else. I mean, I probably do. Maybe like 10 minutes from now, I'll probably text you something else and be like, "Oh, what about this? We forgot that." But this
we'll get to it, no doubt.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, I got nothing left, my friend. To you, I say,
check you later, fun boy.
I'll see you.
Take care.
You've been listening to the Caught Offside Soccer Podcast.